When we get a new campaign, they're like, what's the expected results? And we're like, we don't know because we haven't done it before. To be honest, upfront, transparent. Now, that doesn't mean we lose the client. In fact, it's the opposite. Instead of lying or trying to position us as the experts that know the future when we don't, we're putting ourselves in a position of this is a test. So we have good framework of understanding, and then we'll see what result we end up getting.
Welcome to the Happy Clients Podcast, brought to you by Dot & Company. Whether you're a virtual assistant, an agency owner, or a client-facing account manager, we all deal with clients. Lucky for you, client management is what we do best. Now, let's dig in, chat cam life, and have some fun along the way. Cheers to happy clients.
Alex, thanks for coming on the show. I don't think we've had you on the show yet, or if we did, it was years and years ago.
Yeah, if we did, it was a long time ago,
Yeah.
for sure, like 2021 or something.
Oh my gosh, it's been a long time. But Alex has been in my circle for a long time. We, cross refer when people come up that need each other. So it's been awesome really getting to see your success and your growth over the years. And I would love to share some of these nuggets with my audience, selfishly, that you've been using in your own agency to help grow and scale. So I want to be able to share that with our audience. But Alex, welcome to the show. Excited to have you here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Taylor. I've always enjoyed watching your path, and I think what you guys do at Dot & Co is amazing and very unique, which there's very few things that are unique in the space. And I think one of my most important core tenets of business is do good work. I know it's not amazing English, but I think the point really stands. And doing good work means when you sell something, you deliver upon it. Not just that you're always perfect with results, because results inherently are pretty difficult, not always within our control, whether it's running SEO or ads or social posting, whatever it may be that you offer. But the way in which you communicate and the way in which you deal with escalations and challenges and how you treat people, that's really what I think the element of good work is. And it's actually what my hat is for, Taylor, which I didn't get to tell you before we started. And I think it's a great way to start, which is this is our mantra at my company, Prospecting on Demand. I run two businesses, so a coaching and mentorship program for marketing agencies, which we've been doing for 10 years. And then I run my own marketing agency, Drive Digital Advertising. Yes, I have a hat collection. Yes, I have all the hats. Has nothing to do with the balding at all. The joking aside, my agency, really spurs and inspires what we do at Prospecting on Demand to help other agencies grow. And the best way we do it is through this model, which is an acronym of championing our clients by being caring, helpful, available, motivating, and proactive. And that is really the core tenet of our whole business of how we deliver high quality experience through hospitality first, and then hopefully thereafter delivering high quality results, which we're pretty good at too. I wish we were better, honestly, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah. Awesome. So a big piece of why you started Prospecting on Demand was to help agencies find a system that works for their agency that allows them to grow and scale quickly. Is that right?
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah. I grew up in a neighborhood, like a community neighborhood. And then when I became an entrepreneur, I had this little square laptop and I was pretty alone. I was part of a mentorship program called 6K Success with Dave Rogemoser, who ended up actually being a unicorn exit, which is super cool. Not for that company. He sold an AI before ChatGPT called Jarvis, which was rad. He was one of the coaches I worked with. And when I was part of that program, I realized pretty quickly that I want to build my own version of this after I have some more success with my agency, which I did. And then after about 2 years of investing time and money into the agency, we started POD, which turned 10 this year, which is unreal. Honestly,
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
I didn't realize it was 10. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
10 years,
impressive.
10 years.
That's cool.
Yeah,
So
super cool.
yeah, so a big thing that you help agencies with is really bringing in that transparency in both sales and service. So what
Yes.
made you first realize that this could be so powerful for agencies?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I think you said sales and service. I think they're one and the same. Sales is service. It's actually one of my core values in coaching, that in order to actually be able to convince anyone, influence someone, manipulate someone to bend to your will and win, it's so much easier to do so when all the cards are stacked on the table with transparency and with all biases, and ensuring that service is at the core. It's very hard because I think inherently people are very egotistical and self-centered on purpose, like through evolution, meaning it's required that we prioritize ourselves first over others. I think people use that unfortunately in a negative way where they will prioritize themselves by hurting somebody else, which is not appropriate. It's not me being sanctimonious. I think it's kind of pretty simple to agree. I've certainly done that before when I was younger. There's no question. But I think as you get older and you learn the type of human being you want to be, let alone entrepreneur, father, husband, son, friend, it'd be a lot nicer if more people were empathetic, transparent, and express the realities of the situations as they stand. And so instead of selling roses and daisies and everything's perfect and it's super easy and it works always, it's here's the mitigation, here's the real expectation, here's why you want to work with us, here is our true differentiators and the things that aren't differentiators, here's what I'm great at and what I'm kind of good at and what I'm not very good at. The more transparent that you are, the easier it is for you to walk within integrity. But not only that, it also makes it a lot easier for you to become trustworthy and have, most importantly, grace. And I think the more grace you have in business, the more effective it is to be in business. I think people too often, Taylor, will put in a position or thought process that everything is results oriented. And it's true. At the end of the day, the results will speak louder than anything else. But if you are getting results with someone who is domineering, rude, inappropriate, not making you feel at home or welcome, making you feel less than, and then you have someone who has similar results, even if they're a little bit less, but their hospitality is much greater in this champ format, kinder, caring, more helpful, more available, motivating, exciting to work with, you look forward to it. Even if the results are a little less, most people are going to choose to work with them. And then the obvious reality, which is results are hard, very hard for everything in this industry, particularly agencies. No matter how many times you've done a certain type of campaign, they can be difficult to replicate that for any number of reasons. And when inherently you're going to have a hard conversation with a client, which you will, if you've created grace by explaining transparently that it won't be roses and daisies and perfect every single time, you'll have more grace extended to you where you're going to actually be able to keep the client, even if the results are lackluster, and you'll get another shot. And that second shot, or even third, or maybe fourth, fifth, you still have the chance to earn that client's success and ultimately their retention.
Mm-hmm. So do you, in POD, share scripts or frameworks with agency owners so they can use this in their sales? Like, do you have an example or walk us through what this actually could sound like?
So I think the core tenet of what we do is the ACT method. So we call it the ACT method. I'm big on acronyms, as you can tell. The ACT method is authenticity, confidence, and transparency. So authenticity is the truth behind your words, pretty easy to understand. Confidence is the belief that what you are saying is actually going to occur. And then transparency is the amount that you're willing to share. I find transparency to be the single most effective differentiating factor when it comes to influencing, either in a prospect conversation where you're trying to sell someone, or in a scenario where they already are a client, right? You're an account manager and you're trying to influence them to stay or upsell or cross-sell or refer, et cetera, which is still sales. Transparency is the willingness to share your profit so that they know that you're not going to pull the wool over their eyes. So as an example, I work with attorneys in my marketing agency, Drive Digital. I know that attorneys tell their customers upfront, at least here in the United States, what the cost is going to be upfront on their fee settlements. Pre-litigation will be 30%. Post-litigation on average is 40%. So one of the main concerns that I know my clients will have is when they're talking to me before they've paid me, they're like, how much is this guy making? How much of the money that I'm putting into this is actually going to it? Because they've been burned just like anybody else. And so I'll always upfront say, look, in an act of transparency, just so you know, our goal is roughly a 20% margin, give or take 10%. If we are way above 10%, meaning we're way above 30%, we'll let you know and we can renegotiate the contract because we're interested in working together long term. And setting the stage with transparency of my intentions, which is I'm here to make money for my family while also supporting you. And two, I want to work with you long term. Those are effective tenets of actual transparency versus just saying, I'm the best at it. You should work with me. Nobody's better than me. Here's why. Here's the ROI, which is just a pragmatic view. The transparent view is much more, here's the uncovered veil, the behind the scenes intrigue that you're looking for to help me showcase what actually makes me different. because most people want to know what makes you different. But in the marketing space, Taylor, there's very few things that are different. Everybody uses similar tools, similar products, similar insights. What really is the differentiator is Taylor, is Alex, is the way in which you communicate. And by being a transparent person, you become a trustworthy person. So when they are internally discussing who should we work with, what's our best vendor, how do we consider it, you are always top of the line, not because of results, but because of the way you communicate and your transparency. And so profitability is one of them that we teach quite a bit. It's very counterintuitive, frankly, in the industry, but it's something that we recommend a lot.
I like it. I like that you are meeting your clients where they're at, because you know, you obviously know the industry extremely well, if that's your main niche, and you know how they work. And I think that goes a long way. Have you seen this in your retention?
Oh, 100%. So it's a perfect example of what I was referencing before we started recording. We had an amazing year in 2025, an 8-figure business for the first time in 15 years, which is incredible. We've been on average 7-figure company pretty much every other year. The biggest difference is we were in acquisition mode the last few years and got some of the biggest firms we've been wanting to work with, and upfront, transparently explaining our profitability goal and identifying also like what expectation of results there are in this format. So the way we do it is similar to kind of e-commerce, where if you sell sunglasses and you sell plants and you sell kids' toys and you sell books, you do marketing online, but every campaign is drastically different. Even though I work with attorneys, all the campaigns are different almost every single time, unless there's a reorder of a campaign. So when we get a new campaign, they're like, what's the expected results? And we're like, we don't know because we haven't done it before. To be honest, upfront, transparent. Now, that doesn't mean we lose the client. In fact, it's the opposite. Instead of lying or trying to position us as the experts that know the future when we don't, we're putting ourselves in a position of this is a test. So we have good framework of understanding, and then we'll see what result we end up getting. So for example, if we have a $500,000 campaign last year for ultra processed foods, which is one of the torts we worked on, if we end up realizing after we're halfway through the delivery that it's going to cost us $600,000 to deliver this $500,000, we can go into the conversation, explain we're over KPI, we're not going to be able to hit this number. Is it possible to renegotiate the price? They don't have to, right? We signed a contract that we would hit this price. We are liable, Taylor, to lose $100,000, which, side note, is not fun, just for clarity in case anyone's wondering. Not fun. The attorney has the right to either say, meaning my client, no, fulfill the contract, or two, because we're in a relationship through transparency, say, I appreciate that insight. We can change it to this. That happened both times last year. We had someone say, no, you have to finish it, which we did, but I'll explain what happened. And other times they renegotiated and changed it on our behalf, just so we can have a good relationship because of transparency. The firm that didn't change, where we had to deliver a $500,000 campaign at a $600,000 cost, meaning we lost $100,000, we told them that at the end again, through transparency, showed them the numbers through transparency. They repurchased for $1 million at the new negotiated rate, and then we ended up profiting $250,000 because of that. So yes, obviously it sucked in the time, but when you look about over the 6-month period, it ended up working out very much in our favor. Again, easy to say in retrospect than it was at the time, but it's all about transparency. We've had multiple scenarios where we did not deliver successfully, but because we were upfront about it, we still have the client. And having the client is much more important in my industry, particularly in almost every, than it is to for sure be profitable on that first campaign or second or third, because we know that they're going to keep testing us because they know we're trustworthy. And that is a key factor.
Absolutely key. So what is so we talk all about account management, of course, for the Happy Clients Show. How important is an account manager in this whole relationship from your perspective?
Critical. It's critical. I would say there's kind of two major factors for account management. One is for the owner and operator of the company, like the marketing agency, to actually have a business instead of having a job. If you have a job that's your agency and you're at the whim and mercy of your clients messaging you any and all times without any gate whatsoever, meaning no assistant, no account manager, no support at all, you are the one that is responsible for all communication, which is very, very difficult and almost impossible to have any sort of separation of church and state when you talk about family environment and business, which inherently is like one of the biggest crises in the industry in and of itself. Like nobody has effective or healthy boundaries. Everybody's overworking. They say they prioritize their wife, their spouse, their kids, but they don't, and they're lying. And you know that you do. Like, you know, and me too. I wrote a book about it. I literally wrote a whole book about this whole concept for this exact reason, for me, not really for anyone else, but to practice what I preach in the same way. And then the account manager becomes that in between. And not only do they become the in between, a good account manager like the ones at Dot & Co, what they end up doing is becoming the first line of defense, but also capable of actually nurturing and building a better relationship than you could have ever had. And I think that's the most common issue that we see in POD for people that have already figured out like client acquisition, which that's number one, of course. Once they figure that out, the next thing is like, how do I get my time back, right? I'm so entrenched with all these relationships, and it's you build up someone else on your team, a John or Jane Doe, that can take the relationship, but not just maintain it, make it significantly better and greater by developing better systems and operations for showcasing appreciation and being upfront and proactive in communication and helping when things are difficult. And that's why it's become so critical. The client success managers that we have on Drive Digital are absolutely critical, and in POD as well, because otherwise I would have no life. And I have a 5-year-old kid, and he needs to be the priority at all times. And he's not, because I'm not perfect, but it's supposed to be, and I'm getting better. And that's the concept.
Yeah, I agree. I like what you said about not always having a job. If you have an account manager, you relieve that, I don't know, that need to feel like you're on all the time. You're not in every Slack channel. You're not in every email thread. You're not on every client call. So that gives you time and space to work on the business, spend time with family, start another business, what have you. So I agree. It's absolutely critical when it comes to a scaling business. Like you couldn't have a huge business like you do without team members managing your clients.
Impossible. And I think a lot of times too, people are like, how big does it have to be? We have 7 people, 7 employees for an 8-figure company. So it doesn't have to be huge. That being said, my average client is much greater than the, most agencies in terms of revenue per month or revenue per quarter. But it's the same concept. Like really good CSMs can handle 10, 20, 30 accounts, depending on the type of business, and depending on the way in which you support them. It's, are you withholding them because you don't believe in their capability, or are you letting them flourish and build better systems? And part of building better systems also is effing up, right? You got to let them make mistakes. Yeah. You have to. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck forever. And look, we've made mistakes, but again, through transparency, most of those mistakes are very, very rarely cataclysmic. Most of the time, it's some small nuanced thing that can easily be fixed. I've been in business, Taylor, for 15 years on the agency and 10 in POD. Off the top of my head, I genuinely can't think of a single experience where I delegated to a success manager anything that ended up becoming cataclysmic, where I would say like we lost a massive account or we lost an insane amount of reputation from a mistake. Most of them are like small little things that can be fixed pretty easily, and just gotta let them cook is how I say it. Just, I like it that way. Just let them cook.
Just let them cook. I like it. So what would you say to an agency owner who's afraid of being too transparent and they might scare off clients?
Yeah, you only know that by putting in the line, right? Like it's the same concept on the other hand when it comes to like confidence, right? So authenticity, confidence, transparency. Those are the 3 core tenets. A lot of people will be like, oh, I don't want to like tout to sell. That's one of the main things I coach. Like you got to tell someone to buy from you. Like, oh, I don't want to because like what if I come off too strong? It's like the only way to know if you're coming off too strong is to go too strong, to like get to the line so you can pull it back. And the good news is like, if you do that, okay, you scare off a prospect or a client, so what? Like, we're not heart surgeons. Like, go to the line and like, oh, well, he's dead. Now go to the next one. Yeah. Firefighter. Oh, go to the line. The 3 people died in the fire. Like, it's pretty low stakes. I mean, I'm not saying that the stakes for losing a client isn't high. It's just relative, Everything's relative. We were just talking about it right before this call. Like, everything is relative, So I'm always grateful in the industry I work in. Like, okay, this is like could be really stressful, but no one's life is on the line. Like in general, most of the things are very positive, and any of the negative things are like relatively negative. Like, oh, we lost a client. Okay, all good. Nah, no one's like really sick or like really like hurt feelings or anything. It's all good, right? Yeah. And I think that's one of the key pieces. Like if you're worried about being too transparent, it's probably a misnomer. You should probably just be very transparent and see kind of what lands. Yeah, see what lands. Yeah. And just be ready also for some like very weird reciprocal transparency too. I think a lot of people are very non-transparent in the world that we live in, Taylor. So when you share something like heart on your sleeve, then you kind of open up a little bit of Pandora's box for someone to feel very comfortable to say things back to you that you're like, maybe that wasn't something you should have said, maybe. That's happened a few times, but I try not to judge. And look, I've definitely said some things that I was like, maybe that wasn't, maybe that wasn't the best thing to say. But hey, I'm not perfect, so that's the concept.
I like what you say, go to the line. And for me, I think like if it makes you squirm, like maybe just try it and go to the line. Just go to the line.
What's gonna happen? Nothing's gonna happen, right? My brother's a doctor. Like he can't go to the line, right? He has to do things by the book,
So you do it.
I can go to the line.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do? What are they gonna do? I think you overshared about your problems with parenting. Okay, all right, no problem. I don't want to work with you now. Okay,
Exactly.
next. Let's try again.
Yeah.
Don't bring up parenting. Check. All right, that's it. That's it. That's simple. That's it. That's all I got to do. Don't worry.
I love this. I love the transparency, and I think nobody's really talking about it. So I really appreciate you coming on and sharing that with our audience.
Of course.
Alex, where can people learn more from you and learn some of these tactics, ways that they can help grow their business in different ways that other agencies aren't really talking about it?
Yeah, I mean, you can go to prospectingondemand.com. It's probably the fastest way to find everything we're doing. You can find me on mostly every social platform and YouTube. I post on YouTube and Facebook, which is weird. I have the most amount of followers on Facebook of all places, which I wish I could change, honestly. I have 10,000 followers there. So if you want to follow me on Facebook, come follow me on Facebook. I had someone call me Facebook famous, Taylor,
No way.
2 weeks ago, which was a weird statement. I'm like, I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I want that. It's not about that. I don't know. But yeah.
It's not too late to change it.
Exactly.
Amazing, Alex. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Absolutely.
And hopefully we'll pick up this conversation again soon and talk even deeper about transparency and growing an 8-figure business. That's really cool.
Look forward to it.
Awesome. Thanks, Alex.
Cheers to happy clients.